all you.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority to order. Sasha, if you call roll call, please.
Yes. Chairman Eric Whitman.
I'm sorry?
Eric Whitman.
Yeah, he's here.
Teresa Parker.
I'm here.
And Laurel Brown.
Here.
Here. Brett Wager.
Here.
Here. Tim Kraft is online.
Present.
Okay, you, me. I don't see Paul yet.
It's right here.
Oh, he's actually here. Never mind.
Do you have those letters? Can I see your picture?
Do I have the, yes, that's all.
You have them with you?
The,
You go, okay.
you're talking that long thing?
Yeah.
Yes, it's in there.
Yeah.
Yep, it's in there. Okay, we're good.
Okay. I'd like to go over the agenda. Anybody has any changes or additions to the agenda?
Yes, I have one addition. If we get to it, a hardship request that we would put under a new business.
Okay, so B would be hardship.
Yes. Yep, if we get to it. Otherwise, we'll, table it till the next meeting.
Did Tim Pratt have one too?
And
I don't know. Kim, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay. What was your question
Tim, did you have a revision
on the agenda?
on the agenda?
I don't think so.
Eric, I have a addition to add, if you could put it into new business, discuss digital accessibility requirements.
Okay, but we're not doing any motions or anything tonight.
Correct. We're just going to be talking about it.
Okay, all right,
So you said digital accessibility requirements?
Yes.
yes.
That would be C. Okay.
Any other additions or corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to accept it with the one new item for new business.
Two
Two items.
new items.
Two items, I'm sorry, I forgot that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's look at the minutes from last meeting. Did everybody have a chance to look at those? Is there any corrections to the minutes? So I'm gonna take that as a no, but I entertain a motion to accept the minutes as they are.
I make a motion to accept the minutes,
Okay,
April 9th, 2024, as is. I'll second it.
okay. I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as they are. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, minutes are approved. But do this now so I don't forget.
Oh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, but. Okay. Let's go with the year-to-date profit and loss report, please.
Okay.
Nothing surprising, had quite a few. We had a couple large repairs this last month over at sewer plant. From Velocity Pump. So those are gonna be reflected in there, they're reflective of what Teresa's signing right now. I believe you may actually have a copy of those in your packets as well.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they have these.
No, the actual invoices?
Oh, no, they didn't have those.
Okay.
No.
So we have those, and let's see, I can't think of anything else that stood out other than those. large legal bill and 2 large repairs to the sewer plant. For those valves. Influent and fluent.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do not.
Do you know?
No one probably wants to know.
We're all good? I would entertain a motion to accept the year-to-date profit and loss report. As it is.
Accept it.
I'll second it.
Okay. The motion and second to approve the year-to-date profit and loss report as it stands. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Staff reports.
I have some questions, about the financial report of the, April bill from White Bear.
Okay.
Okay. I have some questions, of course I do. I'm just concerned about that another big huge bill has come from there. It's $10,205
Okay.
for April. And, I'm just thinking, we're way over our budget for the whole year already. The
Okay.
budget was only $12,000, so we are already at $19,000 for just 2 months. And then I just think that we should be looking at these invoices more carefully as they come in and understanding what we're getting billed for.
Mhm.
Because again, it's like I brought up last month, I said that, why are we being billed for items that have not been approved by the board?
Okay, do you have your items in mind?
Well, there's quite a few there are, expenses for, certain board members that have got personal issues going on and they're being discussed with our attorney, or whoever it's Scott now. Scott's our attorney, right? Scott Dinstein.
He
He
represents.
represents White Bear, okay, but, I went through it with scrutinized it pretty closely and figured out that there was quite a bit of, items that were being billed to Kiowa, for items that were not related to this Kiowa, the board. And, like, that's one of them that there's been, especially for personally related to, certain board members and their issues. And then there's also, employees, lots of extra employees are being utilized by White Bear, like sometimes 2, 3, 4 people when they're discussing certain items. And I'm wondering why that is happening. Does anybody know that? That's, they work under them.
Scott's right behind you.
Oh, hi, Scott. Well, he's
Hi, Scott.
okay. How come so many people are involved in these discussions and that we're getting billed for them?
I would have to review the specific items that you're talking about.
Well, I have multiple notes. I'd have to email them to you to show you how many there are. Do you want me to give you one?
No, just go ahead and email them to me and then myself and my colleagues can review them.
Okay, because I've never noticed that there were so many people involved with these discussions.
Mhm.
And then the rates that are being billed, I'm not sure who's who.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that's a question.
Like Scott said.
Yeah, I want-
Email them to him.
Yeah, I wanna find that out. And then also, what's the other item? What are administrative costs that we're being billed on for every different category of, billings? At the end of every one of these, like the financial matters of district management, all this, there's a administrative cost that's a 2.5% of whatever the total bill is. What is an administrative cost?
Is that a question directed to me?
Yes,
Again, I can't really say without reviewing it and, I'd like to discuss it with my colleagues as well. So if you can just send us any items that you want more information about, we'd be happy to discuss it with you.
okay, I'm just saying that this is a much bigger bill than the last month's, and it's just like, I feel like it's kind of out of control.
Teresa, I know you've signed that check, but I take issue with a few of those things on the invoice too, because I haven't talked to anybody from that office in months. And they've referenced my name on there in some areas.
I know that Dorf was out, so that it's Scott, and then the ones underneath him. was
Okay.
missing. That's
Alright.
all I know is.
I just wanted you to know, I know you're signing that, but I'm gonna have to take issue with it last month's too, because they referenced Tasha Chavaria in some of those discussions, and she hasn't been here since last
Okay.
year, so. I'll take it up with them tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, I just think we need to review it more accurately and make sure everything is okay, because
Okay.
this is a large amount. I mean, it's very large invoices, and, you know, it could be mistakes on their part billing and stuff, but I'm coming up with lots of different ones that look like they don't belong on this invoice to us.
Well, then I would like.
I will.
Okay, cool.
I'll accept it. Thank you.
You bet. All right, Paul. What can you tell us?
And I've got, if you need either one of those.
I do not.
Okay.
So on the regular monthly report, everything is going good. The water plant is doing great. The sewer plant, we did have to replace, the influent valve on the, SBR #2, so that's working now. We had a compliance inspection from the CDPHE, and on it, they found, two issues. One is that because we had the issue with the influent valve, we had to discharge to the previous lagoon that's still in place. And they want us to verify if it has a liner in it or not. And if it does not, then even though they told us we could go there, they still want us to list that, we'll still have to report it as a spill.
Okay,
Because technically that's not approved for anything yet. So we'll look into that. We have to get the meters calibrated at the sewer plant, and then that was pretty much all they had
okay.
at the sewer plant. So it was a pretty good inspection.
What happens if we have to report a spill?
It's just paperwork really. It doesn't affect us in at all. We are, so far the pond looks like it's holding, lagoon is holding, so we're gonna be pumping the liquid back through the sewer plant slowly over time. And so that should be it.
That lagoon is lined, you just don't know.
I don't know if it is or not. It was decommissioned before I got here. But because it's still there, hopefully the state will allow us to use it as an emergency pond for events like this.
Well, I want to thank you for taking care of the problem at the bank.
Yeah, they had a sewer backup at their property, and in the process, we did find the manhole that we've been looking for forever. Yeah, it was buried, about 16 inches under the ground, right next to the curb. So,
Did anybody get a hold of the vet clinic and let them know that there's possible?
I don't know if the town got a hold of them or not, but we'll stop by there and talk to them. They're not clogged apparently, because they haven't called for anything, and you can see flow coming in, but it's just quite a bit blocked up. One of their cleanouts, and I'm not sure, they might have
Okay,
2 or 3 cleanouts over there.
all right,
So I'll stop by and talk to them this week.
okay.
When you find a manhole like that, do you mark it on asphalts?
Yes, yeah, we did mark it, and then we're gonna raise it as well. So we're picking up some collars to raise it up a little bit, so it's not so deep in the ground.
Thank you.
Yeah, almost 2 feet, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Well, are we able to account for every gallon that went through the pump, the well? Or has there been some loss?
The water?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, we're able to account for all those. I don't know what the actual water loss was this
Just
month.
13%.
Yeah, 13%, so it's not too bad. I'm not sure if there was a leak this month anywhere or not.
Not that I know of.
well, Paul, stick around, we'll be asking you more questions in a few minutes.
Yes, sounds good.
Thank you.
Definitely. Well, thank you.
I'm sorry?
I didn't say.
Oh, okay,
Teresa did.
all right. Sasha,
Okay. So, first thing, system totals report. You have April and March. We're still actually doing really well with the 13%. I realize it's up not quite 4% from last month. Because last month was almost 10. But we're actually still doing really well. And I updated the graph, so it still looks really, really good. Last month, we had a few people that I had to have Paul go out and put notices on their doors, but everybody paid up. So we are caught back up there. I did send out 12 warning letters So hopefully those people will catch up this month.
Okay.
Knock on wood. So that's where we're at. As far as Neptune stuff, I gave you these, and this one says not yet shipped, but it has. We received both the belt clip transceiver and there's the receipt for the laptop. And Paul and I spent yesterday, I spent a lot of time on the computer, with Neptune. We have the whole system is set up and ready to go, so Paul can grab don't forget to grab that stuff tonight. So we have the tablet and the reader is all ready to go. We have the computer system is all set up. It took us a little bit. There was some errors, and it's neither here nor there, but how things were set up in RVS. So we had to fix things like the Neptune wants to know how big the meter size is. So that was never set up. So we had to kind of go back and forth. I have to go back to RVS and they'd have to go in and they'd have to add a thing for me and we'd have to fix it. And then we'd go back and go to Neptune and be like, okay, here's some errors. So we go back and fix those. So it was all day yesterday. It was from 9 to 4:30 with those guys. But we have it set up. So it should be good. It's ready for Paul to go read the ones that are new. He'll just have to go hand read the old ones until he gets the new meters put in. But as he gets those new meters put in, then I'll update it in Neptune and it'll be ready to read them.
This all starts tomorrow?
Yep, it can start tomorrow. So, yeah, we spent, like I said, all day yesterday working on the glitches and it was like back and forth. And I'd call RVS and be like, okay, this doesn't work now. Okay, so they'd get on and we'd fix that and I'd go back to Neptune and we'd rerun the program and it would tell us if there's warnings or errors and then. So we went from like 300 things down to like 40, down to like none. Neptune is up and ready to go. So, yay,
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah,
Well, thank you for your diligence.
yeah, it took a little work, but, and the guys were really nice to work with, and they said if we have any problems, there's a free phone number that comes with it, call them, and the guy who was working with me yesterday said, call him anytime, and he'll, cause he's like, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, I was like taking copious notes, but he's like, if you forget something, call, nothing, okay, but it should be pretty nice and seamless.
All right.
Knocking on wood, so.
Okay, anybody have any questions for some?
Has the tap fees been paid?
Yes, they have.
When were they paid?
What day, last week, they were paid last, when did I get that check?
I don't remember. They're reflected
Monday.
on the financial.
Yeah, it should be on the financial, Monday or Tuesday, I think he came in. And paid the tap fees. And the meter inspection pit fee and the meter placement fee. So. I had him just pay them all.
All right, public comment.
I have Richard Persont up first. He is on Zoom.
Richard, do you want to make a comment?
Yes, I would. Hey,
Yeah.
first off, I appreciate every one of you sitting on that board. I have a whole bunch of people calling me as to what's going on with the transfer or the bids that are coming in for running the water for management of the water board to change things from the town of Kiowa to someone else for management. I've lived here for 33 years. I asked myself two questions the other day. Am I happy with the bill I get from the town of Kiowa? No, I'm not. Am I happy with the quality of water I get? No, I'm not. So, in essence, I'm saying I would hope that you guys would consider changing it from the town of Kiowa. It's been since 2005 that the town of Kiowa has run this system into the ground, in my opinion. The water that we lose in that tower last year, 800,000 gallons, that's pretty excessive. I think we can do better somewhere else. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ron Pippin Jr., he's here.
Yes.
I'm Ron, I'm the manager of Youth Village Mobile Home Park. I just have a quick question. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but last meeting you authorized Paul to do the fire hydrants.
Mhm.
And we're gonna pay him $2,300. Is that not routine maintenance on the water system that we shouldn't be paying extra for? He's getting so much money a year now from us. Why is that an extra charge?
The only thing I can tell you is that, the fire department was doing it. And they're no longer interested.
Okay. My other comment is, and I've talked to Kim, and I've talked to Debbie. I've been manager for you in Youth Village for 8 years. Our fire hydrants have not been touched in 8 years,
As far as being flushed.
as far as being flushed.
Paul, did you hear that?
I did.
All right,
So, and Paul and I have discussed it,
okay.
a little bit, but yeah, they have not been flushed in 8 years. So, it's like, why are we paying extra, which should be a maintenance issue anyway?
He's gotta make a living like the rest of us.
Isn't that what we pay him for to take care of our water system?
Well, we weren't paying him to do the hydrants. That was being done by, like I said, the
Okay,
fire
but
department.
if they don't get done and they back up and cause problems with the system, somebody's house burns down and they sue the town or KWWA because that fire hydrant wasn't maintained properly.
Well, that's why we're paying him to do that.
But that's what I'm asking. Why are we paying him extra if he's getting a salary from maintaining these systems now?
Because that's what we agreed on.
Sounds to me like a waste of money to me. Nothing against Paul. I work with Paul quite a bit in the park. He contacts me, I contact him, we go back and forth. And that was my question. I've got answers from her, I've got answers from somebody else. I wanted to come to the source.
We're paying him to do that
Okay.
because he's an expert at what he does. He's a professional. I don't know that you could say the same for the fire department. They're above ground, he's below ground.
Okay.
So if you want a good quality job, you pay for it. You get what you pay for.
Okay.
Okay, I have Ron Pippin Senior, and he should be on Zoom. I don't see him up there.
Mm-mm.
He's gonna be under me. We're sitting here together.
Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Hey, a couple of things I'd like to ask. But don't forget it before I think of them. Why are the things that you guys vote on and do that some of them are so idiotic, and we don't have the money to do those things, and I know I'm not going to get an answer, don't care, but I've heard that growth, you people don't want any growth, and they talk like if you don't have a little growth, then, and you want this to be a little town, but the way you people are doing things, it's going to be a ghost town. You're not going to have to worry about no town. And I guess that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Debbie Olin.
Debbie Ellum, 228 Comanche Street. So I just wanted to ask you guys, I was going through the board minutes, and I would ask that you ask legal counsel how to correct the minutes that were approved for March 12th. It says in there that CNC Construction was out at the leak, so they will be sending a bill to the town, who would then have to decide if they forward it to the church. Well, it would actually be a bill to KWWA, And KWWA would have to decide. And I guess my other question is, if it's a repair on private property, hit by a contractor, not hired by KWWA, why would KWWA ever pay that bill?
Which church are we talking about?
The Majestic Church League, it's in those minutes labeled under Majestic. So I just would ask that you guys do that. And then also you guys listed the hardship case, and we should never have put in where it was at. It says in the minutes where it's at. So that needs to be omitted. And then, and I don't know how you correct those, but they are gonna be your legal record. I would ask that on the website, you put in the 2023 water quality report. It is not posted anywhere for people to see. That's a state requirement. We have that as our requirement. It says in our stuff. Also, the website lists the proposed budget. It does not list a 2024 adopted budget. And then you guys have a deal on the copper pipes with lead solders and stuff. I just was curious as to where you guys are at on that list of getting that figured out so we could apply for those grants and seek that out. All of Fawn Valley is platted in 95 or newer, so they don't apply. So it really limits a lot of what you actually have to search for.
Right.
So.
Thank you.
And I did you a copy. Thank you. Thank you. That well.
I don't have anybody else on the list. Is there anybody else in the room that would like public comment?
I came in to make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not
can you-
I don't actually live in Kiowa.
That's fine. What is your name? Can you-
Sunny Mills,
Sunny Mills,
SUNIMILLS.
Okay, and do you have an address for me?
Yeah, 273010 Forest Ridge Drive.
Okay,
Live about 7 miles away. We have individual wells. And,
I'm sorry about that.
EC West and EC East is 10 miles north. And it looks like it's gonna happen. And, so the question is, why did we allow the owner of the development, Tim Kraft, is he here? Onto our board when he doesn't even live in our county? His people have said, when asked about the wells, what happens if my well goes dry? Because you have 44,000 acre feet going in both of your developments. That doesn't include Independence. And the answer was, well, if your well runs dry, you can join our water district. We'd be happy to have you, although you're not required to. Well, there's a lot of people like me and my husband who are retired Army veterans who live out here because it's affordable. And we have our own wells. We've saved enough money that if we have to dig deeper, we will. We don't want to do that. And I'm just wondering why that happened. Why did we have the developer become a board member of Kiowa Water District? I don't get it.
So what question do you want me to answer?
Why is he on the board when he doesn't even live in Elbert, and you are representing the people of Kiowa? And eventually, it looks like you might be representing all of us.
The Jim Digby was owner of the land south of here, south of Fawn Valley. They are possibly going to develop that. We had an opening,
Who is gonna develop it?
that would be Tim Kraft is going to develop that. Now then, there was an opening on the board. He applied, he was approved as a representative of Jim Digby, because that land was annexed into the town. With that being said, he sits on this board legally. Also, Laurel Brown
Mhm.
doesn't live in the town. She represents Karen Backlund. No, I'm sorry, not Backlund.
Barron's.
Barron's. Boy, that tells you how long I've been here. And she also does the same. She represents Karen and Ken.
So, okay, so my next question is, in Elizabeth, people have been annexed into Elizabeth, entire, neighborhoods like mine that are 2-acre to 10-acre lots. And suddenly they had to close down their wells. Wasn't a choice. Everything was metered. Their water increased substantially compared to what they were getting through their wells.
Mhm.
And they became part of the district, whether they wanted to or not, because Elizabeth had enough of a population at that point that the small neighborhood, which at one time had been rather large, no longer had any political clout in order to say, no, we don't want to do that. So is that where we're heading?
I don't know, to be honest with you, I really don't. I know that, Malone owns a lot of land surrounding Kiowa. Our growth is, there's X amount of acres and that's all it can go. At this point, that's about all I can tell you, because that's all I know.
So I've been trying to warn our neighborhood that we can be annexed. They may be forced to go to sewer and close their wells, et cetera, et cetera. And everyone is in denial out here that it's gonna happen. And what I'm hearing is, it sounds more and more like that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I can't answer that question because I don't know the answer to that.
And where are you politically? Where is the board politically in making decisions about the water here in Kiowa? Are you all for annexation? Let's grow. Let's pay for all these difficulties we're having. Let's say use a population to use up our Dawson, or, I mean, where are you politically on this?
Right now, we are keeping our nose above water as far as our bills. Our concern about the lawyer bills is very legitimate. Our concern about, we've been told since the time that this was incepted that we needed to raise our water rates. We tried very hard not to. And at this point, we are having a public hearing next Tuesday at the fire hall. And you can voice your concerns again there.
What time?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
Regrettably, the bottom line is we're gonna have to do something and nobody's gonna like it. And the reason is either that or the people that loan the money to the Kiowa, town of Kiowa will step in and they will raise it and adjust it so that it's a viable system. They run a business, they will make money, they will get their loan back. So. Yes, ma'am.
Jill Duvall. I have a copy, Sunny, to answer your question, the designation of representative for Tim Kraft. The first line says Kraft Kiowa Acquisition Company LLC designates Tim Kraft. The bottom, it's signed by CD Holding Company LLC, signed by Tim Kraft. At the bottom, Jim Digby's name is nowhere on this agreement. This agreement is not on any kind of letterhead. I'd like to know how you designate someone as your representative when you don't sign the agreement. And it's my understanding that Tim Kraft drew this agreement up. Is that correct, Tim?
I'm sorry, this is public comment. This is not a question and answer for individual. board
Okay,
members.
that's my understanding, was that Tim Kraft drew this document up, but it's interesting to designate somebody and not sign it or put your name on it anywhere, so I'm not quite sure how Jim Digby designated Tim Kraft as his representative when he didn't sign the document, his name's nowhere on it. Thank you.
Okay,
I have nobody else.
all right. Seeing no more, we'll go on.
A couple of follow-up questions.
Go, yeah, absolutely.
Is Paul on salary?
He is, Paul, your contract, right?
Paid per
Contract.
service?
Say again?
Paid per service?
Yes.
Does that answer your question about why we're being charged additionally?
A little bit, I mean, cause like I said, you know, we pay him, I don't know, $56,000 a year. And that's part of the maintenance, and I just wanted to know why, you know, and that answered my question. You know, that's where I was at.
Thank you. Legal counsel, can the Kiowa Authority force annex outside water users?
I can't really answer that question right here. I would have to review, the various agreements and confer with my colleagues. I'd be happy to follow up with you with more concrete answer later.
Will you add that to the agenda for the next, and if you guys could please have a response on that? And then while we've got you, has your firm previously weighed in on my appointment to this board?
Yes, we have. It's our position that you are legally appointed.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Rules and regulations for sewer and main. Paul, would you,
Okay, and we he and I kind of did this together. We took the one that we had and we have updated it. And so I went and looked at, I went back to Perry Park because that's the one that you guys were kind of basing a lot of this off of. And I looked at a few of the other towns. They're very similar in size, similar in range. So basically we just, and I'd sent it to Paul and kind of had him update it.
what page are you on?
I am on page 3/4.
Okay.
So the bottom of 3 starts talking about the cleanouts, the property lines, 45 degrees, the biggest bend, material for the pipe, no glue allowed, water and sewer lines, how far they have to be apart, inspections. And then it kind of pops back to the water, and then page 5 goes back into talking about kind of who's in charge of what. And it even goes so far as to talk about no one can put in an outhouse. Privy, because, someone might be, taken to do that. And then it updated, I added the sewer tap fees, tap inspection fees, and that kind of stuff. So we just basically took this and updated it and added the sewer pieces, because before it was basically just the water. And so now it has water and sewer and kind of who's in charge of what.
So with that being said, I think, do we have to have a resolution stating all this?
Probably, yes. We need to have a resolution drawn up at some point.
Scott, did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So I can email that to him.
I'm sorry?
I could email this to him and he
Please,
can,
yes.
okay.
Yes,
So let me put a note here.
and then we'll vote on it at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
All right. Teresa, I think you're next. You and your 2 other people, Paul and Debbie Olam, did a thorough search, interviews. Would you please tell us what you found, what you did or didn't like?
Okay, so we had 4 RFPs come back to us for bids. I have SDS, is Special District Solutions. And the reason why we're doing this is to reach out to the utility billing services, management services that work with water districts. They offer a lot more than what we are getting now. If we're gonna pay the money that we're paying the town for the service, we should pay a company that actually knows what the water district needs. And after doing 2+ weeks of research, we are missing a lot of needs and wants to be fulfilled. My first one is Special District Solutions. This solution, this vendor, he subcontracted out for all his billing, his accounting, his management. His fee was very high. He has a long history with Albert County and with water. So the committee decided not to bring him in to interview, that it was a conflict of interest. So we took him off the table. We can go to CRS, Community Resource Services of Colorado. Very impressed. They came to the table with so many new ideas, policies and procedures in place that we know nothing of. They all are in-house. There's 37 employees. They have over 300 clients. There's 24/7 support. They do the reverse 911 for notifications. Zoom meetings at no additional cost. They have their own, they work with Streamline for websites, which will be ADA compliant. In July, all the new websites have to be ADA compliant. It updates to that. They will put together our agenda package and our minute packages. They will gather all our documentation to work with the auditor from a finance point of view. They had suggested putting our money into a Color Trust account, which will gain interest while it's sitting there. Right now, it's running at 5%, which would help with some of the infrastructures, repairs we're gonna have to make. They will create a records retention policy. They will bring the water and wastewater board up to date. We are not compliant. We are not within our procedures at all. Our templates that we use for our meetings are outdated. They are not up to date. We can use them for our lockbox, our primary address. They'll work with our local bank. I can sign these checks with electronic signature. There's no more paper trail. You have it electronically. I'll know exactly what I've signed every month or what Eric has signed. They work with QuickBooks. They have 2 full-time employees who work on grants only. That's all they do for all the 300 clients. That is all they do. And if they have 2 or 3 clients together that are looking at the same grant, then they share that cost between them. But it was amazing, the worksheet that they had on all the grants that are out there for us to use and utilize, and we had no idea.
Right.
No idea. They do loans, they work with grants, they work with SRF. They work with Paul. Paul knows them, Paul's worked with them. They will look through the Colorado Special District's property and liability pool. This is geared towards the smaller water districts like us for insurance coverages. A smaller, it comes out of a different pool, therefore our costs will be smaller and it's within line of what we do. They suggested we file for tax exempt certificate for public. We shouldn't pay sales tax.
Okay.
They have a working history with Right Water Engineers. Willing to work with Paul on all field operations when he needs. I went to the website. It is beautifully laid out. It's transparent. It's up to date. They have links to all their clients on it and it takes you right out there. I went through quite a few of them. They're up to date. The websites are up to date with all the meetings, their agendas, their Zooms, whatever is needed. They will give access to one of us if we want to load documents that we want on this website that we think is special to our district. We can add that at any time we want. It's an estimated 4,000 monthly fee. It's an $8,000 setup, and that's to digitize all the files and the records we have in boxes and bring us all up to date. And this is for accounting, the website, digitizing the documents. And that is your CRS. Your SDMS. And this interview lasted 2.5 hours. We were very thorough. SDMS, this was an hour and 15-minute interview. They do not write grants. They'll administer it for a fee, but they don't write them. They do have a 24/7 answering service. They'll manage the district website. They're not really crazy about it. We can use their Zoom license at no additional cost. They do not use QuickBooks. They can handle the accounts payable and receivables and payables, but they use an outside contractor. Outside contractor to pay their bills. They use Badger for meter reads and not our Neptune that we have. They could also use this special district pool to acquire insurance for KWWA. They do not review the documentation that we would send to the auditors for an audit. They would send it all to the auditor, which is a lot of additional costs. They would recommend updated policies and procedures. It's all an additional cost because they would rather go to legal counsel, not pull within on their experience. And that's an additional cost. They were not very responsive. It took me a week and a half to get references. And when they came to the interview last week, he said he would get back to me with additional information. And he responded an hour before I came to the meeting. I felt like we were a little fish in a really big pond and he just was not chasing new clients. It was just, I was not getting a really good feel of.
Okay.
Public Alliance. This is a newer company. They have 17 employees. Paul again has worked with them. They can assist with the field operations. They use AMCOB instead of Express Pay, which would be reinventing our wheel on how we pay. They do write grants, but the fees is extra. They will make a website using WordPress. Zoom meetings, no additional cost. We can use their license. They'll put together the agenda packets in minutes. Their accounting is outsourced to a CPA, not to an accountant, right? Their fees are gonna go up. Bill.com to pay vendors. They use Badger to meter reads. They don't use Neptune. They use QuickBooks. They do have 24/7 answering service. They can handle the certifications. They can do insurance from the special district pool. They charge to host their website, so we would get a monthly charge to have the website. The committee felt that we would be recreating the wheel on a lot of different procedures that we do now, Express Pay or accounting, the way we do our vendors, the way we read our meters. Didn't look very cost effective. So my recommendation out of all of these was CRS. They got a wealth of information, knowledge, expertise. What we could do with our memberships with SDA. It has free webinars, there's conferences you can go to. With SDA, you can also get a discount on your website if needed to be. They're willing to come out here and meet with us in person as many times as we wanted to feel good about it. Zoom meetings would be just fine with them after that. They were more than willing to come out here and help me go through boxes to get all the documentation we need together. The other ones were not so willing to just kind of dive in and get dirty. I'm very impressed with them.
It sounds like it.
I would like to know, I have all of your stuff digitized.
Okay.
So it is in boxes, but I've scanned it all.
Okay.
You have some questions?
I have a question because of their rating, their hourly rate, everything's on an hourly rate. So we do not know what the invoice is going to be every month. for-
Day or you speak?
Oh, I'm sorry, CRS, the one that you said is the one that's the most.
So as they brought it to us, they looked at all the things that we need. They have quoted us a monthly 4,000 fee going forward for the rest of the year, because we will not be utilizing always the top tier. We'd be utilizing the bottom ones as a cross training for free. And that's what I was quoted, was 4,000 a month.
So that would be in a contract amount like we have with Town of Kiowa.
We'll look at the contract when it comes to us and make sure it reads like that, yes.
And that's everything that they
The
do.
$8,000 setup fee.
Okay, but then the 4,500 is a monthly fee.
4,000.
4,000, whatever, I'm sorry. That's for everything they're gonna do. They
It
won't,
should be.
they won't bill us on an hourly rate. Then why are we signing up with hourly rate here? then?
That's what they send out to everybody as part of their RFP until you go in and talk to them. And then they came back to us and took all our wants and needs and sent back to me. This is what we could do for $4,000 for the rest of the year, monthly fee. This is what we can provide for you.
Okay, and then what, you renegotiate the contract at the end of the year again?
Because maybe by then we're going to quarterly meetings. Or bi-monthly meetings. We won't have to meet every month. Everything will be streamlined and flowing. And that's what we told them. This may not be how many times we have to meet next year, and maybe less. So will our billing go down? Yes, we'll come back and redo that.
But they'll do it if we go monthly. Next year, they'll keep that same quote.
I don't know what next year. I know through the end of this year, they quoted us 4,000 a month.
And Tim, do you have any questions?
No questions, disclosure. I am a board member of other boards. CRS is the manager of some of those boards. I don't consider that a conflict though.
Brett,
No,
anything else?
Well, just that, whatever the contract comes up has to be scrutinized very closely because of the fact that it just seems like there's gotta be other costs involved, because you just can't say flat rate of 4,000 and that covers everything. What about the facilities that we'll be losing here?
We'll be using community meeting room for free,
Where?
the fire department.
Okay, does that provide the Zoom and everything else we need?
Yes. And we will.
And it'd be free?
The Zoom is not under the fire department. We are not using their Zoom.
So what the Zoom is,
PRSs.
is this? Okay, okay,
Yes,
all right, that's part of the cost.
yes, yes.
Okay. So that would, and has that been set up that we can use the fire department room?
Yes, I've been using it for the last 3 weeks.
Oh, okay, I'm just asking, because I mean,
Yeah.
we have a facility here.
It wasn't available to us.
It was not available.
Oh, it's not available.
This room,
This room was not available to us.
So I understand, that's what I'm saying. There's certain facilities that we are losing when we don't use the Town of Kyle anymore. I'm just trying to compare what we have. And what we have to come up with for extra cost or whatever.
no, there's no extra.
No longer extra cost. Do we have to sign an agreement with them or anything?
No.
Okay,
Anything else?
no? That's fine, at this point. So I see a contract.
Remind me what our monthly fee is with the town currently.
I just signed a check for $5,500.
So after the initial setup, which maybe we can be able to shave a couple bucks off, seeing as everything's digitized from the initial setup, we save 1,500 a month.
And Marcos and Ashley were very willing and very open to see where we're going. I mean, we just kind of threw out a situation and they threw me back the numbers back.
And then this is the group that has 2 on staff, full-time grant writers.
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
Oh, I have one other question. What about, an office here in the town to accommodate the citizens? Is it all gonna be done online by the phone or whatever?
By the phone, 24/7.
So it's gonna be remote. It's totally remote.
Mhm.
There'll be no other
No.
availability for any of the town to bring So what are they gonna have to do, pay by check or pay by credit card or something?
Both of them, like you do now, express pay,
But not everybody does that here.
and you pay by check and mail it in.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Want to keep in mind that there's quite a few senior people in this town that don't necessarily have computers or that sorts of stuff.
But they will get an envelope in the mail with their bill that they can mail back.
Okay.
With the stamp, so,
Okay,
yes.
checking all the thought.
At this time, would you, make a recommendation or make a motion, or what would you like to do?
I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and look at their contract and hire CRS. And then look at it first, look at the contract first, but I would like to go ahead and follow through and get this going with CRS.
So would that be a motion to approve pending legal review?
That would be a good way, yes. I would make a motion, pending legal review, that we go ahead and hire CRS to be our billing.
Scott, did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
I have another couple questions.
absolutely, yes.
I'm just wondering, what was the grievance or the default that happened that is causing this whole thing that you wanna, fire the town of Kiowa for that operating agreement? What were the instances and when did they happen? Cause I've heard, a long time ago, it's been this, whatever.
So previously, read into the minutes by the past president was a list of defaults. I believe Eric had some others also read into the minutes. Most obvious and material was failure to timely assess tap fees. But there have been others, and those are available to you online.
With what, certain minutes?
Yes.
Okay, would that have been so egregious that you wanna fire the town of Kiowa? I mean, are they, if it was a tap fee, isn't that something that, if you don't pay the tap fee now, they're not gonna get any water until they pay it, correct?
Well,
I mean, it's,
I mean,
We had one tap fee that's never been paid.
yeah,
I understand that, I remember that one, but I'm just saying is, there's a
Regardless.
recent one that says, you didn't get the tap fee when you applied for the permit, when they applied for the permit. So the bottom line is they're not gonna get any water or sewer until they pay that tap fee, no matter if it's 2 years down the road and the house is sitting there without the sewer and water available.
Water has sewer and water.
yeah.
But they can't access it to the house until they pay the tap fee, correct?
They already
They already
have
do.
water and sewer.
So
Which house?
regardless of the details
Yeah.
of that,
Which
there
house is
are
that?
other grievances identified
They're
by the
referring
previous
to-
president.
Okay.
Beyond all that, in the previous meeting that we had, the fact that we couldn't even get staff to schedule a meeting with this authority board, I have a severe grievance with. But beyond all of that, as I believe Teresa said, was evidenced in her interviews, I think that there is better staff available to serve the residents of Kiowa than what we have today and for a lower cost.
Okay, can you tell me which minutes, which meetings those,
No, man, but they're available on.
well, I'd like to know which ones they are, because I'm not coming up with anything that resembles a grievance. And plus, did you ever send out letters, written notice of these grievances to the town of Kiowa for the operating agreement?
So we can terminate for cause without actually identifying specific causes. I think if nothing else, the failure to assess tap fees in a timely manner is an easy justification. And quite frankly, I'd rather not go through a laundry list to save the embarrassment of staff.
So again, I'm not knowing the time frame. Are we going back like 6 months, like a year, that when these grievances were first brought up? So I can go check the minutes myself,
So if you go back to the last few months, I'm sure you.
few
can
months,
find
okay,
The minutes.
okay, all right.
My biggest thing is, after doing all this research, is we are really missing out on a lot by not having management, billing service that works with water districts only. and know the ins and outs of the water districts, of the compliances, where we can get free grants, information for grants, our certifications, and become compliant.
So,
This is not a water district, this is the town board.
right, that's what I was
And
gonna say,
that's,
this is
that
not a
was one
water
of my
district.
biggest things was when I did the
Because
street
these are-
surplus.
yeah.
We are really missing out on a lot for the money that we pay.
So they know how to manage towns?
That's what they do.
Oh, well, I thought they were water districts mainly.
They're
Like subdivision
management, utility billing services, so they do the grants, that's management.
Okay,
They look after the loans. They go out for the revolving funds. They know where to put the money. That's how they're managing. They're not gonna come in and take over us. They're just gonna help manage as to what a water district should be doing.
And how to better serve the
How to
the
better
community.
serve them.
okay,
So-
cause I wasn't seeing that in the,
You weren't seeing that?
not in the bids that they, not that the bids that they sent. They were just
This,
not-
this doesn't,
Well, no, this is Teresa's.
this is mine. You
Yours?
got the same thing.
Oh, I know, but I mean, who did these interviews?
I did.
You
Debbie
did?
with Paul.
Oh, okay, all right, well, that's what I'm saying, those are your notes that you came up with from interviewing these people, but I'm saying from the beginning, the bids that were sent out. I wasn't getting that information,
None of us were.
yeah,
That's why we had.
yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I'm just,
Yeah. That's why I took the time and had. him-
that's right, and I had that information now. Oh, okay. I just had questions,
Okay.
I wasn't having answers.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor start doing say it again, Sasha. The,
Well, I'm not
motion.
sure, it got all kind of jumbled, but pending legal review, Teresa has made a motion to look at the contract and hire CRS.
Okay. Is there a second?
Is that legal review and our review? No,
Yes.
we want to review it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have to review.
Yeah.
I will add that as part of the state.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I think we've discussed this enough. Sasha, I would like you to do a roll call vote, please, and use me as last in case there's a time.
Okay, got it. Laurel Brown,
No,
Teresa Parker,
Yes.
Brett Wager,
Yes.
Tim Kraft,
Yes.
Eric Whitman.
Yes.
Okay, carries 4-1.
I've lost my agenda.
We need to take action to terminate.
I don't,
Um,
honestly, until we see the review,
I would think we need to
we need to look at the.
look at the review and then get notice. Okay. Project needs assessment, new business.
That's kind of, that's for you, that's the big thing. Yeah, and I only made 3 copies,
I can see why.
because it's like 200 and some pages.
Is there anybody that can give us a reader digest about this?
What is
Before we move on, I'm looking at the agenda and I see the item 90-day letter terminating operating agreement with Town of Kiowa. I just wanted to make sure if you guys wanted to discuss that or not.
We want to look at the CRS, is that correct?
Yes.
CRS, that's gonna be emailed to you. Look it over, see if there's any something legal that we need to be aware of, Scott, before we accept that.
Okay.
That will be emailed to you.
So I guess, do you want to make a motion to table it till next meeting?
Table what?
Yeah, the letter.
Yes, let's go ahead and table that.
Okay, do I have a first and second,
Okay,
or Eric, and
I'm
you?
sorry, I
Okay.
second it.
Okay,
all in favors?
Aye.
Table.
Aye.
okay, back to project needs.
That is the draft version of your project needs assessment that Right Water Engineers have produced.
It's this big one, I kind of made it good to share.
I had pages, yeah.
They have received their login credentials. I have to upload it though. And it needs to be approved by the board prior to it being submitted. This is the first step that needs to be cleared in order to continue on with the SRF loan process.
And I think I read in there, they need they need our latest audit. That's not until June, correct?
Right. So they have the most current that we have
Yeah.
available to us,
But they keep
but the
asking.
next one is not till June.
Yeah. Okay, that part I didn't get through. No, I haven't had a chance to look at this.
Yeah, it's a pretty lengthy thing.
There seems to be quite a bit of information that needs to be revised. Debbie's name needs to be taken out of it, and it needs to be updated with Eric's information.
Okay. So there, it doesn't need to be voted on because it's not correct. Is that correct?
Well, you can make a motion to, if you're making revisions to it, or you have recommendations for revisions, you can make a motion to pass it with revisions.
I had
But-
a chance to just look at it.
Okay, so we still haven't had a chance to really go through it. So at this time, I think we need to table that.
If we could. I know we need to get to it, but.
Okay, so
Do we need
have a,
to schedule this after the audit or before?
I'd like to move the audit up.
Until what, when?
There's not much time between now and June, but. Yeah. Well, they need our latest audit, which is until June right now,
Okay.
so,
So we're gonna have to do this after. Okay,
or we can look at it before then.
all right.
Yeah, we can finalize this document and then submit with the updated audit, or we can submit with the existing audit and then file the new audit afterwards.
The new, I don't know what the bearing of the new audit that's gonna be done in June has on this. They have the current audit. They have the audit that's available to them. You do run the risk of an increased cost in having your audit done when he's coming out, and staying here for 2 or 3 days. Separate from the towns. So now he's making 2 trips out here to stay 2 or 3 days. So I can see if he has a schedule to move it up, if that's what you're entertaining. Or I can let Brightwater know that it won't be considered for approval until June.
I don't know, the ladder on there.
I think that's what we need to do.
We can look it over.
So I'm sorry, you,
Well, let's look it over, make the revisions that need to be made, maybe we can get together and approve it,
Okay,
and then wait for our audit.
so
So do we want any other, I've got 2 revisions that I found, because I went to the whole thing.
Okay.
And do we need to address those now, or should we
no, let's do it
later?
some other
Okay,
time.
all right, okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
okay,
to be clear, I don't think we need the audit
Okay,
with this.
not the newest one?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, I haven't read it, so I can't answer that, can't.
And then alternatively, we could approve this subject to a committee that put together to address those concerns. Just in the essence of moving this forward.
Okay.
Laurel, would you like to be on that committee since you,
I can, yeah,
okay,
because I've already gone through it.
okay. Teresa, would you like to work with her?
Sure.
Teresa just did a pile of work with the interviews.
Yes,
Thank you for doing so,
Yes.
Stan, Paul and Debbie. I'm happy
sure.
to be part of that committee as well.
All right, let's,
so do I have a motion to table it?
okay. Yes, we need a motion to, table this.
I make a motion to table the project needs assessment.
Okay. Do I have a second?
And as part of that, do you want a committee to review it outside of the board meeting?
Does that have to go in the motion too?
Got
Motion it and have it be reviewed outside the meetings with the committee.
Okay,
Second.
You got somebody with their hand up on the screen.
Okay, what is our motion on the floor?
oh no, I think that's just me. So the motion is to table this till June or July?
June is probably,
June.
With the hopes that the committee can maybe meet before then.
Okay, okay, so we're gonna table it till June with a committee meeting outside to review.
Is there any discussion?
How do we do the outside committee meeting?
So you and I will get together and go through this.
Where? Here?
We can connect offline and we'll figure it out.
Connect, what'd you say,
I'll
online?
reach out to you and we'll figure out the
Sorry.
details.
All right.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passed. All right. We have new business B, hardship case. What can you help?
Yep, so, I got a letter today, that you have. Basically, this person said they're writing to ask for a reduction of what they owe. Her parents lived in Kiowa, they still own a piece of property. Dad had a major stroke, and her mom has come to live with her. He's had a cardiac arrest. Her parents are living with her, they do not live in the house. Their finances are disrupted because they're paying for both their home and their parents' home that is still here. So they're trying to keep two households, afloat. Right now, the one is not working because they're staying home to take care of both parents. They have not had the water turned on because they had a leak a few months ago. So they've been using 0 gallons, for the last few months. Anyway, they wanted to know if they could get some assistance with the water bill. I did include their audit. And you can see originally where they were doing really well, paying on time. And then, this last few months, the last payment they made was in January. And they paid, $245 and 52 cents, brought it back to a 0 balance, took it back to 106, but then they didn't pay in, the last couple months. And so they are back up to 476. And so they're just asking if there's a way to, reduce that. So I have brought it to you.
Is anybody living in that house now?
No, the parents are both, basically, I guess it sounds like dad's in really bad shape. He is basically bedbound, and mom is now not doing well, so they're both living with, the daughter, who wrote this. So no one is actually living in the house. They haven't had the water turned on, in months, just because they're not living there, and they had a leak, so they just shut it off.
So it sounds like there's not gonna be anybody living there.
No, they're trying to work to get the place sold, but now they're just trying to stay afloat with paying for 2 houses and all that. And all the extra medical bills.
I don't know that, there's anything they can do other than shut their water off.
Okay,
I mean, you know, it's like anybody else.
right, well, I told them I would bring it to you, so,
Do we need a motion or no?
yes, probably.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you shut the water off, does that mean they have to pay a new tap fee? Or is it just temporarily shut off because there's a shut off fee? I noticed in our list of fees, if you shut the water off, you just shut it off and.
Yes, but then there would be they would have, whoever purchased the property or the people who are selling it would have to, yes, do a new tap fee to
I
bring it
mean,
back
tap
on.
fee, not just a shut off or turn on or anything.
No.
Right.
Okay.
Not a new tab.
No, we're just shutting it off, okay.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, yeah, because it just
Okay.
shutting it off, so that would
Okay.
be reasonable.
Yes, I
If they
can do
don't need
that.
it,
I guess I could make it inactive is what we would call it.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Still have to pay an availability fee, correct?
Hey, what?
Availability fee?
The monthly minimum,
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
yes, there will
which-
still be charges.
right, which would still mean they would still get charged 106.14 a month, which is what they're getting charged now, even though the water is off. Yeah. So it wouldn't matter.
How much is outstanding on this one?
For 76.98.
Have we made any kind of concession about making payments lower payments or anything?
that was one of their, I think, hopes, questions,
Okay,
something.
not
It-
just reduce it,
Right,
but
yes,
just,
yeah, reduce or, give them a payment plan or something.
okay.
How soon are they looking to sell it? Are they selling?
Soon, I think that they're planning to try and get it on the market pretty soon, so.
Maybe we could recoup those upon sale.
Yeah.
Put it in something on that.
That would be the one.
Yeah.
So that is up to you guys.
Either not.
Is that, like I said, could that be leaned against the property line?
You could, I mean, but it's kind of up to
Yes,
you guys.
Debbie.
I just want to remind you guys that your USDA loan says you cannot give away any free services or anything. So you can just let it accrue its monthly minimum, and when they sell it, you'll get your money.
Sure.
So.
That is true. Yes.
So basically, we don't need to do a motion or anything.
No,
We don't
if you're
need
just
to-
gonna leave it as is,
And we don't need to do a lien to get our
No.
money.
no, because when they sell the house, then the last bill will be paid, yeah. As part of the house of the sale of the house, so.
Now, then, the last thing that we have is this digital,
Accessibility requirements.
yes. I have a long list here that I got from Scott. Scott, can you give us a Reader's Digest version of what you sent me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, there are some legal requirements regarding accessibility that public entities have to comply with. They were finalized this year. Essentially, what it means is that a legal entity's website needs to be accessible for people with disabilities. And any documentation that is on that website also needs to be accessible for people with disabilities. When I say accessible, I mean like, there are people who might have certain visual related disabilities who require, certain software in order to be able to read screens. The authority's website would need to be able to be accessed by those kinds of technologies. It sounds to me, based on what Teresa was describing with CRS, that they would be, in the event that you chose to go with them as the management company for the authority, it sounds that they would be responsible for maintaining the website. So, we would have to confer with them and, expressly confirm that. But essentially, there's a certain deadline that all legal entities need to make sure that their websites and the documentation on that website are considered accessible by. And that date is July 1st. It's also relevant to note that there is currently some legislation that is awaiting signature by the governor called House Bill 24-1454. And what this bill would do is it would add in a grace period of another year, so July 1st, 2025, for the public entities who weren't able to reach that accessibility compliance by that July 1st, 2024 date. There are additional requirements that an entity would need to hit in order to qualify for that grace period. Essentially, the entity would need to create a progress report on their efforts towards compliance regarding accessibility on the web pages. They would need to update that progress report on a quarterly basis. And they also need to create a clear and easy process for people to be able to track down the right contact information to be able to request redress in the event that there's some inaccessible content that they want to reach. I sent out the board a memorandum earlier today explaining the accessibility requirements in greater detail. And there are certain requirements that a public entity is required to have just regarding their websites in general. it's our position that it makes sense to try to minimize the amount of documentation that you would have on your website, just to make sure that, you know, everything is keeping within compliance and also keeping down costs for remediation. But again, this would be something that would be a really good idea for the authority to get confirmation with CRS in the event that you do want to use them as your management, and just make sure that they would be the compliance officer for this. It sounds, based on what Teresa was saying, that they're aware of the requirements. I remember that she mentioned that their websites are ADA compliant, so I'm confident that they're aware of all these requirements, but it's something to talk to them about.
Thank you for your input.
Our current web designer is also aware of all those.
Okay.
So,
Cool. With that being said, is there anything else needs to be brought before this board? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Motion passed. You have a meeting next Tuesday at 6 o'clock for rate adjustment at Firehouse. We will take public comment, exactly what it's for. I hope to hear from some of you guys. We're adjourned.
Thank you.